Hello and welcome to Pearl and Plume, a knitting and crafting podcast. My name is Kelly, and you can find me on Ravelry at Kiki Carlisle and on Instagram at Kiki Carlisle. And this is podcast number 1. I am wearing the Soldatna crop by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks. She is my favorite designer. I think she's probably almost everyone's favorite designer right now. This was a lot of fun. I did change it up a little bit, and I'd like to make another one and maybe follow the directions a little bit better. But let me show you. So here we go. I'm wearing it with my shorts today. You can see that I stopped doing the color work here with that second color, mostly because I was lazy. And it kind of made it pucker out and bell out here, which I don't really mind. I also was so into knitting it that I forgot to do the extra color work on the bottom. Yeah, so I dyed this yarn because I can't afford hand-dyed yarn. I'm just a teacher and I have 3 kids, lots of chickens, cats, and currently there's a snake living in my house too. So I have started dyeing my own yarn when I want to use hand-dyed yarn. I think hand-dyed yarn is so cool. I love the tonal qualities. Speckles I like in little bits. But what I did was I used West Yorkshire. I'm looking around for my little tag. I had it here somewhere. I used West Yorkshire Spinner's Fleece, and this is not even undyed, I don't think necessarily, but it was really pale. And I basically just, I was going for slightly different colors, but this was one of my first dyeing experiences, so things didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted. But I ended up getting, let me get my bowl of yarn over here. This is a really cool chicken bowl that a friend made for us. I ended up getting this really great tonal raspberry with some pale pinks and some strawberry raspberry colors in it. And I ended up getting this deep espresso brown. I had wanted to speckle this. And I keep hearing people talk about how speckling is so hard, and it really, really is, because I've found on superwash yarn speckling is quite easy, but on non-superwash it kind of bleeds into the whole ball. So this is a really dark chocolatey espresso-y brown with bits of mossiness, and knit up. It's really pretty. And then I ended up getting, and I don't have much of this left, this brown, which has lots of copper tones to it, which I really liked. And this super bright lavender that's really tonal in quality as well. There's almost some light bluish there, but lots of lavender. And then a very dark purple, which I don't really have any leftovers. And I really meant to have brown and like a peachy color. And I wanted a green in it, and I dyed this green, and I just didn't love it. And my sister especially, my youngest sister, was like, nope. Maybe it was I can't remember who it was, but I listened to my sisters, even though only one of them is younger than me, I still listen to her. It just wasn't gonna jive with the rest. So I have this skein and a bunch of leftovers that I can use for future projects, and maybe I'll make another Soldatna crop. It was super fast. It was super fun. I love color work. It's maybe what they call potato chip knitting, which I can't figure out if it means like you can't stop because it's like eating potato chips, or if it's like you could eat potato chips while you're knitting because it's so easy. Not sure. Anyway, I think next time I'll continue the color work. It puckered a little. My tension wasn't so great here, and that's not even normal for my color work. I don't know what I was doing, but lots of fun. So I have a lot of works in progress, but before I go there, I'm going to show you one other thing I made. which, whatever, I'll just put it over this. I didn't follow a pattern for. I have to tighten it up in spots. But I used some DK weight yarn for this. And I just love a stripy scarf. And I also love yellow and gray together. And I also love a tassel. So while it's really not going to be worn until the fall, I thought this was a lot of fun. And basically, I just, what did I do? I cast on 3 stitches at the bottom, and then I started just adding a stitch to either side. I think every other row, and then every row when I came down here. And I just at first tried to make the stripes pretty even. And then I made mistakes, and then I was like, oh, whatever, it doesn't have to be even, it's kind of fun. At the end, I did just a garter stitch, and that is again because I lost steam and was like, I need to get this freaking scarf done. It's super soft. This is Valley Yarns. I can't remember which Valley Yarns it is, but it's a blend. It's wool and something else, and I'll have to add that down below. Valley Yarns Northfield in their gray, and in their, that's what it is, Valley Yarns Northfield in their gray, and then in the Kangaroo dyer, who's a local dyer who dyes the yarns, she did this amazing yellow, this tonal yellow, which I love. You can see some of the tones there. Yes, so super soft and squishy. It's a really great yarn, and it's great colors. Okay, so on to works in progress, and I have a few, and some are really in the very beginning stages, and that's okay. So I don't have any designer bags. I'm just a small town girl, but my mother makes bags, and my students have made me bags, so I'm kind of lucky. This is a bag my mom made, and I asked her for a bag that I could walk and knit with, and believe it or not, I have walked and knitted with this. I've gone to the park, sling it over your arm like this, and you just can get some, at least for me, just some stockinette stitch done while I'm walking. Not on a hiking trail, but like on a path, of course. So this is holding my another Caitlin Hunter pattern sweater, and this is the sweater that for me started me knitting sweaters a little over a year ago. I saw this pattern and I thought to myself, I need to knit that sweater, and I had never knit a sweater before. I'd only knit scarves and a shawl. So this is the Zweig sweater. And I have everything but the sleeves. So yay, that's fun. And again, I dyed this yarn. And I have a couple, let's see. So I dyed this navy blue, which has fuzz and cat hair on it right now, but it's really a tonal blue with accidental pops of lighter blues in there. So, but it's super inky, and I love it. I wanted something almost black, and I kind of got there, except it has a little more variation than I intended. So that is the body, and it kind of looks to me like the ocean and the moon kind of sparkling off of it, which is kind of cool. However, I've even thought of maybe painting it with dye when I'm done, which sounds crazy, but I could do it, and I think it's doable. We'll just see. The other color, I had wanted this to be kind of a pale bone taupey, like really pale color with some really gentle speckles on it. I am someone who kind of overdoes lots of things, and I put too many speckles in and stirred it up too much, and my pan was, I think, too shallow. So it just blended in. Now, I kind of love it though. It's really like a dusty rose color. That's washing it out a little bit. And here it is in the skein. You can see there are lots of really gentle speckles, but then you'll find that there's like a little speckle of purple here, and there, like right here. There's a little purple. And then you might find a little orange speckle, but it's all pretty subdued. And I really love that. I like the speckles, they make me happy. I don't want to look like a funfetti cupcake all the time. So I have just started on the sleeve there, and I'm just not super into the sleeves. It has this pattern of X's, and mine, I have to say, look more like upside down Y's, and I don't know what happened there. But they're regular, and I'm just gonna leave it. So that is my Zweig by Caitlin Hunter, and loved the lace. I just love the way it looks, and I did make it a little bit more fitted for me. I have some more positive-y sweaters, and I'm kind of wanting to balance it out and make a few more fitted sweaters for my wardrobe. So, and a lot of her patterns do seem to have a lot of positive ease, and that's fine, but that's what's great about knitting your own garments. Okay, so speaking of a wardrobe that you really just want to have, I started knitting Coloring by Katrine Schneider. I just want a simple cardigan that can be worn with everything. I had one a few years ago. It was charcoal, merino wool, really fine, and I could use it 3 seasons out of the year, and it would go with everything. So I am making the coloring sweater, and in the original pattern, she has you make the collar and the button band are a different color, but mine is all one color. It's all going to be charcoal gray, and I am using sport weight Lana Grossa Cashmere 16 fine. And it is, it's a different kind of fiber in that, well, so it's a blend. It's cashmere and 10% cashmere, 10% polyamide, and 80% virgin wool. And it's made in Italy. And it is chain, what is it called? Chain spun or chain construction, so it's kind of almost braided. And what I've found is that I'm a pretty loose knitter, and I often want my fabric to be tighter, and I have to keep going down in needle sizes. And this is such a fine, I don't know, you can't really see it, but it's a little bit fuzzier than I wanted. It doesn't have amazing stitch definition, but it is fine and dense, and I feel like when you're knitting with it, it's stretchy, and then it just kind of puffs out once it's in the fabric. And I'm just really excited about this. I think this is going to be a great addition to my wardrobe, but also maybe a little boring for me to knit, and that's just the way maybe it has to be. So you saw the yellow and gray striped shawl, scarf, whatever. I'm also knitting one in scrap yarn from, oh yeah, and here's this coppery brown I was talking about that's from this sweater. You can't, looks more coppery in the ball, but here it is. So this is all hand dyed by me except for the green. It's kind of wrinkled, but this is just another one of that triangular shawl. Very simple triangular shawl. And I'm not doing a great job showing it, and it's kind of wrinkled. But stripes, using up scrap yarn, and I use that same construction, and then I'll make a tassel to put on the bottom. And that is going to one of my sisters. And this is another bag that my mother made for me. And it has some teacher pens on it. I don't have any knitting pens, but I have teacher pens that my students made for me. And this is just a simple drawstring fun print bag. Okay. Oh, and the Lana Grossa, the Katrin Schneider cardigan is in a chicken bag that a student made for me. Okay, so last work in progress. Actually, I have a couple things that are just in purgatory right now, but is the Hipster Shawl by Joji Locatelli, and I did start to knit this last year, and I got a few of the repeats done. And okay, we're back. The 17-year-old came home, and he doesn't enter quietly. Or exit, or really do anything quietly. None of them do, because that's children. Okay, so I think I went over my works in progress. And the thing I'm looking forward to next is dyeing up a batch of yarn. And I got this yarn from Knit Picks. I got Stroll, fingering weight. I got probably more than I need because that's often what I do. I'm just terrified. Whatever. I'm a loose knitter, so I tend to like have extra. I think that's why. Anyway, it's super soft and it's really a good price for bare yarn, especially for a beginner like me. And what I'm hoping to do is dye up some yarn for the Sunset Highway sweater by Caitlin Hunter. Again, I just love her designs. I just love everything she designs, and I think that I will probably make this with less positive ease than here, but not with negative ease and not with, not super fitted. And I'm hoping to have a motif that has some ochre and some pink and some ivory. I just really love mustardy, ochre colors with pink. Like really pale, kind of dirty pink, like dusty mauve. So that is what I'm looking forward to knitting next. Really got to get these works in progress off my needles before I'll get at least one off my needles before I start that one. But I will dye the yarn probably this week. So I'll get to show you that next podcast. I wanted to talk about what I'm fixing or what I need to fix, because I do have a few sweaters I knit this year that I need to adjust. And we'll keep that for next podcast. But what I am going to show you is a book that I just got that I'm really excited about called Punch Needle Around Master the Art of Punch Needle Accessories for You in Your Home. And while I probably won't be punch needling any of these projects, I will. Well, they use punch needle in a way that the book does, in a way that I haven't. I think of it as rug hooking, but you are punching with a needle, I suppose. So there's so many amazing projects in here. And what I love is I started rug hooking a few years ago, and even on like Pinterest, a lot of the projects you'd see were like folk art, really old designs that I find beautiful and I love them, and I've always been interested in folk art, but it is really fun to see fresh modern takes on things. I actually have a punch needle, a rug hooking pillow that is behind me. This is just kind of a sampler of leaves that I was just playing with, and so I do want to start a project in here. I just began a rug hooking project, so I'm not sure if I should put that one aside because I'm a little more excited about this. And it's just a pillow with some wavy shapes in it. It doesn't look like it would take that long, and I actually have a lot of great colors that I could use for that. So that is kind of exciting to think about. And if you don't know what punch needle is, there's so many ways to do it and it can look differently, but here's one of the tools that you can use, and I do have that tool, and there's a name for it, and I'm going to tell you the name. It's the Amy Oxford punch needle. So I have one of those, but I also sometimes use something that is more like a crochet hook. In fact, it's a crochet hook with a special handle on it, and they get you different things. You'll get different results, and usually you use different kinds of yarn with each one, although it's all interchangeable. And anyway, so I'm really excited about that. Punch needle by Arauna Kunaraj, also known as Bukhao. Okay, I'm just gonna show you her name because I don't want to, I totally butchered it and I'm sorry. It's a really beautiful book, and again, I'm so excited to see fresh designs in punch needle. And I think that is it for now. Thank you for joining me, and be sure to subscribe and look for the next episode. Bye.